MikeHarrisRacingToday.com. Brian, the format was intended to do a lot of things. The chase format was intended to do a lot of things, get more publicity during the time when football is starting up and the baseball playoffs and so forth, and maybe cause more excitement and so forth. Now, with Jimmy about to wrap up his fourth straight championship, there's a lot of people complaining that it's become boring, and this year, particularly, there hasn't been a whole lot of excitement. What's your feeling about the chase? Is the format right? Does it need changes?
Well, look, what I wouldn't want to do is take away, the accomplishment that Jimmy and his team, as I said earlier in my remarks, in this format to dominate 4 straight years is incredibly difficult to do. But we could not have predicted anyone as good as a performance that Jimmy has had would have been able to achieve what he did, and therefore taking away some of the things that the chase will deliver in normal sets of circumstances. To me, it's all in how you want to look at it. If you want to look at it that some of those, teams that you would think would have been closer coming into today is you're missing that, yes, but you're getting a performance that's historic. And, you can certainly look at it any way you want, but obviously we look at the adjustments in terms of the format every year anyway. You've heard me say that. We will be looking at that again to see if we can make it better without, but we love the premise of the chase. And, history and specific performances dictate how it plays out. And that's where we are today.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Brian, for maybe 18 months or so, 2 years, you've said you kind of want these guys, you want to open it up, let these guys get back to being personalities and whatnot. Well, last weekend we saw some old school retaliation, door banging in a nationwide race. What did you guys say to Brad Keselowski? And how bad does the sport need that old school kind of payback fun?
Look, we don't go into private discussions we have in the trailer with our drivers, but it's suffice to say that what we want is drivers who are driving hard, that are driving to win. And when that happens, you're going to have some situations where there's contact. We're a contact sport, and you didn't see us over respond when that happened. You didn't see us, what happened in the nationwide race in Phoenix. What you're always worried about in things with retaliation or all those things is escalation and unintended consequences. But on balance, there's no question we're encouraging drivers. When Carl last year made the last lap pass, he was or attempted pass at Kansas City. You heard us applauding that. You didn't hear us saying anything other than that was a daring move by one of the better drivers, and it did. And so we're pretty much committed, but we also regulate the events. And have to make sure that there are limits to hard driving and rivalries and whatever, but we certainly want them. We know how important they are, and we're going to do what we can to encourage them with some obvious limits as we go along.
Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. Brian, in regards to scheduling in 2011 and for the foreseeable future, I know that Kansas wants a second date. Kentucky wants a date. Some tracks are struggling to sell tickets. When that schedule comes out 2011, do you foresee a major shakeup at that point?
Well, it depends on what you say. What is major? For a lot of people, one race moving anywhere is major, and certainly major for the track that loses a race or one that gains it. So it's certainly possible. Kansas has got a nice track record of what of a fan base they build and success in their market. and they have a big proposal that is going to be voted on shortly on a casino and variety of other things to expand that whole facility. And my sense is if that all comes forward, that they'll be wanting to have another date there, and we'll talk about that and try to make the best decision we can. And Kentucky's in the same boat in terms of wanting another date. We've long had a realignment policy that we have worked with the tracks, and it's tough because we balance this the historical interest of the sport with the current realities of markets that work better in one place than another. And we try to make sure that that all works out, that the fans get what they want, which is the right racing at the right place at the right time. And we'll be working on that as we always do. But it's certainly possible that changes could happen in 2011.
Diego Mejia, Autosport.com. Brian, this weekend can turn out to be pretty significant in terms of the Hispanic attendance, let alone the Hispanic media attending the event. Where do you feel NASCAR is in terms of reaching out to that Hispanic fan base, and how important is it to really get to that niche?
You know, it always, in our situation, we've got a lot of diversity plans and programs that you're familiar with, and they're working well. But ultimately, you know, we get graded on the fact that who makes it to the national divisions, and then from there, what drivers of diverse nature succeed. And, you know, having Juan Pablo have the success he's had this year is very helpful to that. There's no question that he has a affinity with the Hispanic fan base. And one day, and as days go down and as the future unfolds, our diversity programs will deliver drivers, and there's several now that are recognized in the farm system of the major teams. That will ultimately, it's hard because there's not many seats in the national divisions to get an opportunity, but they will, and we're going to inevitably have somebody who's going to change the look and feel in a good way, in a very good way. So Juan Pablo has done that, sure but steady. And my strong belief is in the future, maybe over many years, before these opportunities reach a place where someone is having success on the big stage, but it will happen.
Okay, we've got Liz Clark, Rodman, and Bruce Martin.
Liz Clark, The Washington Post. You know, Brian, obviously dynasties can define, you know, glorious eras in sports, and you have been very pointed in stressing the historical significance of a Hendrick's 9th title and Jimmy's likely 4th. But, I mean, hasn't NASCAR lost something valuable with the disappearance of the underdog? I mean, do you not see kind of a downside in this dominance and the fact that all the teams legitimately challenging Hendrick or have their engines built by Hendrick are also, you know, certainly not underdogs? Thanks.
Well, look, I'm sure every sport would have that same sort of dilemma of, you know, of watching some dominant performances occur at the expense of smaller teams or others, and those are always questions that that you would ask. That how do you get to the perfect world? And all I can say is what is here upon us. That it is historic, and it is an incredible achievement that Jimmy is putting forward in NASCAR, and that's what's before us. The rest of it would be better if this happened, or whatever. That's up for other people to decide. I just can grade the performances as they come.